Because of why I search the deep through endless nights, no time to sleep. The call inside I can't deny. I'll find the light because of why.
Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever looked at Japan and just wondered, how do they live so long? I mean, they have one of the longest life expectancies on the entire planet. Well, today we're going to dive deep into that. And you know, it's not just one thing. It's this really cool mix of national policy, what they're actually eating, and maybe even something hidden in their DNA. Okay, let's just start with one number, 84. That's it, 84. That is the average life expectancy in Japan. And that number alone puts them right at the top, like the very top of the global charts for longevity. So what's going on here? What's the story behind this incredible number? Let's get into it. And just to give you some perspective on what that really means, let's compare it to, say, the United States. Their average is about 78.7 years. So you're looking at a gap of over 5 whole years. And listen, that's not just a statistic, right? When you think about it, that's millions and millions of extra years of life spread across an entire country. So that's the big question, isn't it? How are they doing it? Is there some kind of magic secret? One single thing? Well, as we're about to find out, the answer is way more interesting than that. It's not that simple, and honestly, it's way more fascinating. All right, first section. And you know, the first piece of this whole puzzle might surprise you. It doesn't actually start with what individuals are doing. Nope, it starts with the very foundation of their society. It's about a system that was literally built to keep people healthy, with a huge focus on preventing sickness in the first place. To really get this, we gotta go back in time. Let's jump back to 1961. This was a massive year for Japan because it's when they established their national health insurance system. This gave everyone universal coverage. And think about that. This wasn't some new idea. This was a huge national commitment they made more than 60 years ago. So how does that actually work for the average person? Well, check this out. The government picks up the tab for about 70% of healthcare costs. The patient just covers the other 30%. What this does is make healthcare super accessible. It means things like regular checkups and catching problems early. That's just normal. It's a routine, not some expensive luxury. Okay, so that's the system. But what about the fuel? What's powering this long-lived population day in and day out? Yep, we're talking about diet. And the science here has gotten really specific. Scientists actually have a name for this. They call it the healthy Japanese dietary pattern, and it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's all about a high intake of whole foods. So think tons of vegetables, fruits, soy products like tofu, and a whole lot of fish and seafood. You know, all that stuff that's packed with good things like omega-3s that fight inflammation. Now let's flip the coin and look at the contrast. Researchers call it the Western-style pattern, and this is where you see a lot more red meat, processed meats, and eggs. The difference between the two is just night and day. And study after study has shown that this exact difference is linked to completely different health outcomes. Okay, and this is where it gets really cool. A recent study in a journal called Frontiers in Nutrition found a direct link. This Japanese dietary pattern, it's associated with slower biological aging. Let that sink in. We're not just talking about living longer. The food they eat seems to be literally slowing down how their bodies age on a cellular level. That's a game changer. All right, so we've got this amazing healthcare system plus a diet that seems to actually slow down aging. That sounds like a winning combo, right? But is that everything? Could there be more to it? Well, researchers think so, and they've started looking in a really wild place for answers, our own genetic code. And that brings us to our third section, which might be the most surprising one of all, the genetic blueprint. What if there's a biological advantage hardwired into the population? It's a wild idea, and scientists are diving in to explore it right now. There's a great quote from a researcher at Osaka University, Yukinori Okada, that really sets the stage. He said, "The genetic code contains a lot of information, most of it of unknown significance to us. And it's exactly that, this huge uncharted territory that scientists are now trying to map out. looking for these secrets to a longer life. So get this, one enormous study looked at the genomes of almost 700,000 people. And it confirmed what we kind of already knew, that things like high blood pressure and obesity are definitely big risk factors for a shorter life. No surprise there. But here comes the twist. This study also found evidence suggesting that the Japanese population might be, get this, partially protected from the negative impact that obesity usually has on how long you live. That is a massive clue that genetics could be playing a very real protective role here. Okay, so let's pull all this together. What have we learned? The big takeaway is there's no single magic bullet. It's not one thing. It's the synergy, the way these different pieces work together. You've got a supportive healthcare system, a seriously powerful diet, and then maybe, just maybe, a unique genetic advantage. It's the combination that's so powerful. So what can we take away from all this for ourselves? I think there are 3 big lessons here. First, health isn't just an individual thing. It's a shared responsibility for all of us, which their healthcare system really proves. Second, embracing a diet that's heavy on plants, soy, and fish can have some incredible anti-aging benefits. And third, focusing on prevention. It's every bit as important as finding a cure later on. So as we're wrapping this up, I want to leave you with a question to think about. We've talked about these huge factors, the system, the diet, the focus on prevention. Looking at all that, what's one small change, just one thing, that you could maybe bring into your own life, maybe even starting today? Hey, if you found this explainer interesting, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you know someone who'd geek out on this stuff, share it with them. And of course, subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive. We really want to know what you think, so let us know your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks so much for hanging out and watching. We'll see you in the next game.